and during the course of the uprising resulting from the death of George Floyd, when many cities were being shredded and torn to pieces, in Camden, New Jersey, there was no violence whatsoever. Due to the Camden, New Jersey anti-violence initiative that was led by great leaders, spiritual leaders, and politicians alike. Well, now seemingly that program is coming to an end. President Trump has eliminated the $2 million funding for the Camden Anti-Violence Initiative, and they have become victims to the Trump budget cuts. Tyrone Bowman, live. I want to talk about this tonight. According to an article, it's a lengthy article, and I'm going to read the entire article from the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Sunday, May 11th, 2025 edition. So here's a photo, and in this photo, you have Stanley Winrow, who's left, and other activists as they stage a, quote, peace walk in downtown Camden on this past Wednesday, after Commissioner and the mayor rallied at City Hall to denounce federal cuts to violence intervention programs. So let me kind of fold this up here. And as I said before, I talk about a lot of programs here on Tyrone Bowman Live. People are not going to hear anything else because this is a grassroots, quote, for FUBU, for us, by us program connecting with my people. I come from a long line of activists and different people that I've been mentored with. A lot of them, they've gone on into the hereafter, but they have schooled me very, very, very well. And I'm staying the course in their memory and in their honor, and I'm upholding the same type of integrity that they did, whether we liked, loathed, hated, or loved, we still have to stand up for what is right. So here's this photo, and then I'm going to get into the news article. This is what they took the $2 million away from. Believe it or not, Camden was becoming a safe city. And I think it's going to continue despite the lack of funding. All right, let's get down to business here. It's time to get to work. According to the Philadelphia Inquirer, the headline reads, quote, a Camden anti-violence initiative falls victim to Trump's budget cuts. A Cure for Camden was told its funding was, quote, no longer aligned, end quote, with Justice Department priorities. A violence intervention program that Camden officials say has helped decrease crime in the city abruptly ceased operations and laid off 7 staffers after President Donald Trump and its administrations pulled roughly $2 million in federal grants. Cure for Camden, a violence intervention program that launched in 2014 as part of the city's overhaul of its public safety system. Let me move that microphone out of the way. As part of its public safety system, stopped its streets outreach and early intervention initiatives as a result of the U.S. Department of Justice cut. Quote, we were notified on the evening of April 22nd that the last day of our funding would be April 22nd, end quote. So they told them April 22nd, and they stopped the money the same day. You know what's happening here, right? There's a gubernatorial race coming up. Senator Chris Murphy, he can no longer run. He served his terms. See, this is the ploy to create violence, mayhem, pandemonium in the streets because they want the GOP governor to win the race. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. People got to understand what's going on here. What's really happening behind the scenes? Why is the money being withdrawn? Because you want the Republicans to take control of the state. And what better way to try to do that? To create mayhem, chaos, plant operatives to sell drugs, knowing that a lot of folk are hooked to a lot of things. But they got these so-called dispensaries and these fancy names. Ain't nothing but marijuana stores where you go and buy drugs. You can call it a dispensary. You can call it organic farms. You can call it organic food. Why do you have police up in there? Because you're selling drugs. That's what you're selling. And it's not the black people that's going up in there. It's the white people that's going up in there buying their weed. The same weed, marijuana, that our brothers have been locked up for a long, 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 long time. Now that's legalized. You get your card and what is it, medical marijuana card and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. It's the same thing. You're selling drugs. You're selling weed. You know? Of course I am. I have a problem with it. I'm dealing with the hypocrisy. I'm dealing with hypocrisy. You lock people up for selling it in the hood, but then you legalize it, and then you go ahead and try to justify it and just come up with these fancy terms, cannibalists. You're in the weed business. That's what you're involved in. All right. Let me get back down to the article. Quote, we were notified on the evening of April 22nd that the last day of funding would be April 22nd, end quote. Anna Pazano Cotton, Chief Operating Officer at Center for Family Services, the nonprofit that oversees Cure for Camden, said in the interview, she said the Justice Department told the organization that, quote, the funding was no longer aligned with the priorities of the administration, end quote. Meaning, if you don't do what we want you to do and do it the way we say to do it, we ain't giving you no money. See, I cut straight to the chase. I read it, but then I put it in everyday talk, everyday vernacular. I want to break it down so my audience can understand it. The program is unlike traditional anti-violence programs in that it employs trusted community members to intervene in conflicts, support victims of violence, and try to prevent retribution. Stanley Winrow, who was 40, was a violence intervention specialist for Cure for Camden who worked with individuals at high risk for gun violence. He recruited and mentored people who were selling drugs, carrying guns, or had prior violent charges. Now, you know they don't want crime to go down, Republicans. They want crime to go up, to justify the mantra of, quote, law and order, end quote. Don't believe nothing they say. Don't believe a word of anything they say because all they do is lie. The Democrats lie too, but Republicans tell much more outlandish lies. Until he was laid off on April 22nd, Windrow had a caseload of 17 people he worked with to take the steps they needed to get off the streets, whether it was finding an apartment, applying for a job, or talking them off the edge in the middle of the night. Quote, I was on the streets for 25 years, he said in an interview. I sold drugs and been to jail and all the different things they're going through. That's what made the program so successful, because they know I literally come from where they come from, end quote. Just like with me becoming a lawyer. I can identify with people who come to court. I know for both sides of the judicial system. I know what they do when they get them in lockup. I know what happens in the DOC. I know what happens in the state penitentiaries because I did a dime. For those who were involved there, they know what I'm talking about, a dime. And many of the brothers that I did time with, they watch my program. They know I ain't lying. I was there. I was in the hub, in the core, in the midst of the, quote, the belly of the beast. And while I was there, I'm not going to talk about all the good I did, but I'll tell you one thing I did do. I studied law. I became a jailhouse lawyer. Now I'm on the right track, studying hard, long hours, long days, long nights, doing what I have to do to become a criminal justice reform advocate and helping those who are trapped in the system. That's the bottom line. To make a long story short. And I'm never going to forget what I went through. I'm never going to forget the brothers, the Nation of Islam brothers who watched me night and day over my shoulders. Kudos to y'all. Big ups to y'all. And whatever I get, y'all get. That's it. We brothers for life. If I got a piece of bread, you got a half. If I've got a bowl of soup, you got a half. Anonymous, that day is coming. Thank you so much. So we share a common thread and a common bond. It can't be broken. So never forget. Don't let I tell people the glasses, the hair, and all that kind of stuff. Don't let none of this stuff fool you. I know who I am deep down the inside. Let's get back to this. So the brother said he was on the street for 25 years. Cure for Camden had been awarded the $3 million in DOJ funds in two separate grants. A nearly $1 million four-year grant awarded in October 2021 and a $2 million grant for fiscal year 2024 meant to last 3 years. The group had already used more than 75% of the older grant, but it lost the majority, or about 85% of the more recent award, according to Payanzo Cotton. Windrow said 3 of the people he worked with told him within, now give me a second to get on the other page, because I said I was going to read this article in its entirety, because I want everybody to know what's going on and what's happening. Yeah, let me see, I got it. Oh, my bad. It's over here. All right, let me take it from the last paragraph. Woodrow said 3 of the people he worked with told him within days of the federal funding cut that they would return to dealing drugs. Wow. I said, we going back to the streets, skip that. Another, Windrow said, told him he would start robbing people. Windrow said he continues to talk to them daily. Quote, they almost feel like they're getting back at the system for betraying us by going out and doing the opposite of what the program was like, he said. I'm trying to change their mindset, end quote. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to change. I know it's hard to stay focused. I know it's like when you come out of prison, you ain't got nothing but a bag with all that stuff in it. And people don't want to give you a job. You don't have no place to stay. People they don't want to give you no money. They don't want to help you. I know what it's like. But I also know what it's like when some good people come into your life and they become your support system and they mentor you and help you and make sure you kind of stay on the right track. Because I've had that, and I still have it to this day. So, Center for Family Services, the nonprofit that oversees Cure for Camden, is trying to find job placement for Windrow and his former co-workers elsewhere in the organization. Windrow said he is thankful he may not be completely jobless, but he started working for the organization specifically for this purpose. Quote, I feel like I was a hindrance to the community for so long, it's only right that I give back. And by me giving back, I'm grabbing guys that was once like me by the bootstraps, and I'm making them model citizens in the community. The nonprofit's leaders are accustomed to seeking out funding streams, but they had no way to plan this time. Payanzo Cotton said, they're now scrambling to find a funding source to resume its programs. I hope that they can get what they need, because they're listen, you got a lot of good, wealthy people out there, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody who has plenty of money ain't wicked. You got some billionaires that do good with their money. You got people out there who want to invest in people and help them to get on the right track and stay on the right track. So hopefully they'll be able to get what they need. Quote, we typically would be notified that a grant would not be renewed or continued and have until the end of that grant cycle to plan. But we were not given that opportunity with this, Payanzo Cotton said. Of course not. It's called shock and awe. The group will pursue the DOJ's appeal process, but officials know that a number of other local law enforcement agencies and nonprofit organizations that do similar work across the country receive termination notices at the same time. Along with spending time in communities to directly intervene in potential violence, staff had been assisting a total of 46 direct participants, including 29 youth, with a range of issues from advocating for them in court to helping them get a job. The program also helped with conflict resolutions and bullying at local high schools. Quote, they don't have that after school point person that's going to just make sure that they're in a safe place. They don't have that person who they can kind of bounce decision making off of. Payanzo Cotton said that's been pulled out from under these participants. I'll tell you one thing they don't take funding away for. They don't take funding away for the wealthy schools that don't need the money and wealthy organizations that don't need it. They make sure that they give them whatever they want. This is about hurting black people. That's what it's about. It's about making sure black people don't have a leg up. It's trying to make sure that they can't have an advantage to be able to redeem themselves. Let me tell you something. You can redeem yourself whether people fund it or not. Make up in your mind. Oh, it's going to be hard, it's going to be rough, and it's going to be tough, but do it anyway. Let's get back to the article. Cure for Camden's hospital violence intervention services at Cooper Hospital was funded by the state and will continue to operate. Losing Cure for Camden's programs will come at a cost and ultimately put more on oneness on local police, said Dan Keishan, a spokesperson for the Camden County Cure for Violence, helped to build bridges. Get better informed about what's happening within certain pockets of certain neighborhoods, he said. Shooting homicides in the city are down 46%. Nobody wants to talk about that. And aggravated assaults was down 21% in 2024 compared with 2024, the year Cure for Camden launched as part of a larger policy overall in the city. You know, listen, this is real. Cure violence programs stem from violence interruption methods that organized in Chicago. A 2017 Temple University study of a Philadelphia-based Cure violence program found that it reduced shootings by 30% in targeted zones. In North Philadelphia, that program also struggled with funding after not getting a grant renewed with the city and the U.S. Justice Department after former President Barack Obama left office. Camden County Commissioner, Director Lou Campbell Jr. said Cure for Camden has helped reduce violent crime in the community. As a result of its impact on the city, he fears that violence will soon go in the opposite direction. Quote, this is like a safety net that's being removed from the city of Camden, he said. A lot of these kids are coming from families of poverty, and if we don't provide this help, they're not getting any help. Camden's message to the Trump administration, quote, you're going to cripple our efforts to reduce crimes committed by young people in Camden City. Cutting off these funds will actually promote crime rather than hinder crime. Well, that's what they want. I'm trying to tell you, that's what it's designed for. Because they want a Republican governor. It's designed to create chaos. It's designed to create an increase in violence. It's designed to fuel the prison industrial complex. That way you keep ex-soldiers and people who served in all these different things, you give them jobs and make them COs. And people have stable housing and stable income and stability, because the more people that you keep in the beds in these prisons, the more money you're going to make. Job stability within the prison industrial complex depends upon people getting locked up. They make their living off of the misery and the suffrage of people who are, whether they're falsely accused or deliberately accused, whether they committed the crime or not, they lock them up. That way you're paying almost $60,000 a year to house people. That's called job stability, retirement stability, pension incentives. Don't get mad with me. I lived in that system for a decade. I know how the system operates. I know what they do. They build prisons on purpose so that people can have jobs in the DOC. And that's what this is about. Don't be deluded. Don't be fooled. Advocacy work is important. It's not about getting rich. It's about doing the right thing before Almighty God. Helping those who can't help themselves. Fighting for those who can't fight for themselves. Become an advocate and a voice for the voiceless. As I tell my boys in the barbershop when I'm talking to them. So y'all better listen to me. Listen to what I'm telling you. You want a lawyer like me to advocate for you in court. Why? Because I know the system. I know what it's like. And you don't want no public pretender. I said, you don't want a public pretender making you cop to a plea deal that you don't want to cop to so they can go on to the next case. You want to know how much money court-appointed attorneys make? $1,500 per case, maybe even more. Now, if you get let's say you get 5 cases a day. That's 25 cases a week. That's $60,000 for the week that you just made. And then the cycle starts all over again the next day. Cure for Camden, anti-violence program, money eliminated. Don't give up, y'all. Don't give up. Don't let people tell you that, what does my hair have to do with this? Nothing. Don't give up. Don't let people tell you what you can and cannot do. Redeem yourself. I said, redeem yourself. You can become a better person. It's up to you. All right, I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Consider, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to Tyrone Bowman Live for me. All right, y'all. Peace. I'm out. Never surrender. Never quit.